Hey guys, it's Kat and I'm back today for a very exciting video. I'm so excited. So I'm doing Get Ready With Me. This is actually my beauty news editing day, but I need to film this because I actually got a PR box. I'm so excited. Look, you know, I've had a channel for years, I've had a blog for years, but sometimes when you've had a brand that you really love and you have never had PR from them before, and then all of a sudden Mecca sends me a whole, like, pretty much full face of Urban Decay makeup, I'm gonna stop what I'm doing and I'm going to put it on my face. So that's what I'm doing today. I've got fingerprints all over this. So I am super lucky that Mecca sent me this, like, so this is to sort of celebrate the release of the Backtalk palette, which I'm so looking forward to trying. If you're not familiar with this palette, it has just been released in Australia. When I'm filming this, it's released today, but when you're watching this, it was a couple of days ago. But this has eyeshadows and blushes and highlighters in it, and I'm so keen to play with it. So that's sort of like the main focus of this box. But they also sent Naked Skin foundation, Naked Skin concealer. Yeah, there we go, concealer. Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. I've got that, so I think I'm going to keep that and might give it to a friend or something as a nice little prezzy. The all-nighter setting spray, which I've never used before, so I'm super excited to try that. Perversion mascara. Once again, I've never used an Urban Decay mascara, so I'm super keen. The eyeshadow primer, and then the Backtalk lipstick. So this is like a gorgeous nude colored, you can see the color of the label. So this palette here is inspired by this, like, best-selling lipstick. So they've taken the color of this, which is like a mauvey pinky nude, and they've put it sort of into a palette to create like a whole face look. So that's how that was created. They've also got a lip gloss in this color and a liquid lipstick as well. So popular shade, and I want to put it on my face. So I'm sure you can understand how excited I am to try these products. I haven't tried any of these products before. I have tried a different lipstick of theirs. I have tried the Naked 2 palette, but besides that, those products are completely new to me. I have tried the all-nighter foundation, but I've never tried the Naked Skin. So I'm going to put them on my face and do like a first impressions. I am very familiar with Urban Decay though. I've got heaps of their eyeshadow palettes, heaps of their face palettes, single eyeshadows, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm very keen. So the only things that I'm really missing in that for a full face of makeup is a bronzer, an eyeliner, and also brow products, but I think I'll go eyeliner free today and bronzer free. I'm sort of wanting to do what I sort of do on an everyday basis when I'm not filming, when I'm just going to work or, you know, catching up with friends. I tend to go eyeliner free and not too much bronzer, so I'm sort of replicating that look but using these products. So before I do start with putting this makeup on my face, I thought I would mention what I already have on my face. Also, I wanted to point out that my breakouts from that sugar scrub from L'Oreal, clearing up, it's under control. There's still like discoloration there, but it's getting there. I am wearing my Dermalogica. This is a Dynamic Skin Recovery Broad Spectrum. It's a moisturizer that's got SPF 50+, and it's really comfortable, so I'm wearing that. I'm wearing my Mecca Cosmetica. This is a Golden Lip De-Luscious SPF 25 Lip Protectant. So it's just a lip balm. I've used a lot of it. That has a bit of a sheen in it, and I just thought I'd do that to hydrate the lips. And then I've just got a little bit of brow powder, and I'll probably go in with this again later, just my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Duo in dark brown. So that's what I've got on my face at the moment, but let's put some Urban Decay on my mug. All right, let's start with this baby. So the Naked Skin Weightless Ultra Definition Liquid Makeup. My shade is 2.0. I hope it's my shade. We'll see. So that's the bottle there. It looks glorious. And it says shake before using, so let's give it a shake. And I'm in dire need to wash my brushes, but I keep forgetting. So we're going with a Morphe brush just to apply that. And I'm gonna pump some on the back of my hand. Oh, brand new. Oh, it's very runny. So there we go. The color looks pretty good. All right, zooming you in a little bit for the foundation application. Ooh, good color, feels nice. I really like thin foundations that have like a medium coverage. This probably is, I'm gonna say, it looks a little bit too light for me, but I actually don't think it is. I prefer to go a little bit lighter because it covers that redness that I've got. So I've got a lot of redness. It matches my neck, which is very light, which is great because it means I don't need to bring the product down my neck too much. This has a really nice lightweight consistency. The coverage is definitely medium. Yeah, it's definitely a medium coverage, so it doesn't cover everything, but you can see it like compared to my forehead that's got all the redness, that covers quite a lot. Super lightweight. I can understand why it's called naked skin. I feel like these days I really love runny sort of foundations because they blend super quickly, and I feel like I'm always doing my makeup in a rush, which I shouldn't be, but I am. So when we were emailed at Beauty News about a pack that's coming, we didn't know what was going to be in it, but they did say to pick a foundation shade and concealer shade. So I did pick this shade. Like I said, it's a tiny bit light, but I don't mind it because you can bronze it up, and if it does oxidize it all throughout the day, it's a good winter shade for me. I look pale as heck, but it's partly this lighting. In real life, it actually has a bit more color to it. Just on camera, I look like a bit of a ghost. But it looks good in real life. But they said also to choose between Naked Skin and All Nighter. Now, I've tried All Nighter and it's technically better for my skin type, or on paper it looks like it's better for my skin type because I've got oily skin and I need things to last all day. And I do like the All Nighter, but I really wanted to try this because, especially going into the cooler months, I sort of like a lighter coverage. My skin's been pretty good recently, and I like things that have a little bit less matte finish to it because in the drier months my face is a little bit drier. So this I think will work really well. It looks really good in real life. It's not really going on my nose properly. It might just be the brush application. I find sponges tend to work a bit better, but all my sponges are dirty. But it looks really, really good. So that's one like layer, and I find you can see a little bit of skin coming through. So a little bit of color that makes it look really natural, but it's not like a mask. It's not really heavy. I can feel it's a little bit dewy. It does feel like it's set, but it transfers a little bit on my fingertips. So for me, I would set it, and there's no setting powder in here, but I'll find something. But I think it feels really nice. Now onto the Naked Skin concealer. So weightless, complete coverage concealer, light diffusing, peptide infused, paraben free, and this shade is light warm. And I looked on the website, the Urban Decay website, and they said that this pairs with that shade of foundation, so hopefully it goes well. That's the color there, and that's what it looks like compared to the bottle. So this is a little bit lighter, but you can tell that it does sort of match the color well. I love a good click. Yes. The doe foot applicator is like pinched, so it's nice and flat. And I'm just going to put a little bit in my dark sort of areas and maybe just on my nose. That's where I find that foundation often doesn't like to stick. It's also where tends to wear off. And since I've got some discoloration from those breakouts, I'll put some on my chinny chin chin. And I have a little baby micro beauty blender. Look how cute it is. Beep, beep. So I'm just going to apply that with that. All right, that seems to be quite thin. I don't know if it's just that I haven't put much on, but it does seem like it's a nice thin coat. I wouldn't say it's the fullest coverage concealer around, but it definitely covers to the same extent as the foundation. So if you like more of a natural looking sort of flawless complexion, this concealer tends to work well with it. But if you had like heaps of dark circles, you'd need to put a lot or layer it. This is probably too small for this purpose. Should have got a bigger one. Let's see how it goes on the nose. I might actually switch to my fingers. I feel like the sponge was taking too much off. Yeah. Definitely looks more high coverage when you use your fingers. All right, now that I've determined that fingers are a bit better, I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm not one of those big concealer people. It's just not what I like to do, but I do like a little bit. And these concealers and foundations do have different undertones. This is a warm one, so it does look quite yellow, but I sort of thought I like more yellow toned ones because They sort of counteract redness a bit better for me. If I go really kind of pink ones, they just look a bit strange. So that sits a lot better. I like it a lot better with fingers compared to that little sponge, but maybe a bigger sponge might work a bit better than the little one too. All right, so that's the foundation and the concealer on. I'm gonna say that I like the color match. Like I said, on camera, it looks a little bit light, but in person, it matches my neck really, really, really well. So it goes with my body really nicely. I think the concealer color and the foundation color do match. I do think the concealer was a little bit more yellow toned than the foundation, so I don't think they match perfectly, but they do work well together. And I don't think the concealer is super full coverage, but once again, it does just brighten the area. The more I touch it, the more it lifts. So I think it does need to be set ASAP. All right, I'm going to use my Too Faced Peach Perfect powder to set all of this because it's a really nicely finely milled powder, and I really like it. It's my favorite powder of the moment, so why not use it? Because I do find that this not migrates, but when you do touch this concealer, it does move a little bit. So it does sort of feel like it's set down or looks like it's set down, but then when you touch it, it hasn't really set down completely. So if you do have oilier skin, I would recommend to set it. And I'm just going to set the rest of my face as well because I like to do that. Just a nice light amount. Okay, one thing I find interesting about this, now when I first saw the Naked Skin foundation released or talked about, I always thought that it was going to be sort of a light coverage, dewier sort of foundation since it's called Naked Skin, and I find that these sort of more natural looking foundation products tend to be dewy. This is actually a demi matte, so I'm quite impressed with it because I do like matte finishes that are sort of comfortable and not too matte. So I never realized that this was demi matte. It's light diffusing. It's got a powerful anti-wrinkle peptide in it as well. So yeah, if you did have oily skin, you're a bit worried about this, don't worry. It definitely sets down matte, especially if you powder it. It's just more of a sort of thin consistency, very lightweight, and has more of a medium finish. So I like that on a daily basis. I think this looks really good. And in person, I think it looks even better than it looks on camera. So yeah, that's interesting. All right, let's open up this primer potion. This is the original one. I have used this before in a mini, like in a sample. I've never had the like full proper one that like I feel like YouTubers circa 2012 were all like, I'm starting with my Urban Decay primer potion. So now I can be one of those people, which is really cool. Packaging has changed a lot since that time. And I really like that this is a doe foot applicator. I think it used to just be a squeezy tube. This looks like it's really handy, and the squeezy sort of tube you can sort of really, if you got to the end of this, you could really work your wand around and squeeze it onto the wand. But let's put it on. So I am familiar with this sort of formula. It's quite thin, which, you know, I don't hate, and it's sort of translucent as well, so it doesn't blank out your eyelids, but it does provide a nice thin base for your shadows to stick to. This is so much thinner than what I'm used to using because I use I've been trying to use up a MAC paint pot all year, so this is a nice, you know, change. Time for the super exciting part. So the Backtalk Palette, these are the shades, you can see them there, and gorgeous, so smooth. So this has got raised text, but it's a really nice matte smooth sort of packaging. That's so nice. And let's open it up together. Ooh, so you see a mirror in there. See the mirror? I'm going to open it again so you can see what this is really like. So it's got two sides and a mirror that's double-sided. So if you want to put your eyeshadows on, you can put it that way. But if you want to put your face powders on, you can open it that way. So we've got a couple of blushes and sort of like either shimmery blushes or highlighters. And then also this bit in the middle, if you don't want to use the mirror at all, you can slide it out. So it comes out like that, and that's magnetically held in. So there's that. So you can see that the color palette of this is purples, pinks, and nudes. So kind of fun, really good for winter. Okay, I'm going to start with the mattes. I'm going to use this sort of matte cream shade. It's like a cream, but it's got a little bit of a pink to it as well, and that's called 3 Sheets. I'm going to set my primer with that. Then I'm going to go with Backtalk, which is a matte that the whole palette's named after, so that sort of matches that lipstick. And then I'll go in with some shimmers, but I'll use those two first on the same brush. Alrighty, so you can definitely see that it does add some color, not too much. It doesn't like, you know, it's not a bam kind of pop of cream. On the same brush, I've got the Backtalk shade. Ooh, that's actually quite nice. This looks a lot kind of warmer on my skin tone than I thought it would. So it sort of applies a little bit peachy, whereas in the palette it looks a little bit purpley and pinky. This brush is shit. And hopefully you can see that added a lot of color just really quickly with just one kind of coat. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to say that this brush, it's an Anastasia Beverly Hills brush, but I don't know, it's not performing well for me today. Okay, these are 3 of the colors that really interest me. We've got Curve, which is more of like a satin taupe kind of shade. We've got this purpley shade, which is called Shade, and then also this reddy one called Attitude. Those really, they interest me. And that's just them swatched really quickly. So very soft and subtle, a bit of purple, and then a really cool sort of like, I don't know, raspberry red. I might go for these 2 because it's more of a cooler look that I sort of am interested in going for right now. So I'm starting with this all over the lid, and then I'm just going to deepen it a bit with that color there. So the pigmentation of this Curve color is, it's not very pigmented. Now look, it is what it is. It's more of a natural sort of shade, and if you just wanted to run something all over the lid, that does the job, but it doesn't really pack much of a punch. It's not super metallic. It's sort of more of a satin look, even though it's got a bit of shimmer in it, but it's, you know, a pretty sort of wash of color. But if you're expecting a really like intense look from this shade, you're not going to get it. It's more like a really subtle wash of color. So for me, this is more of a quick chuck on a shade, blend it out a bit, and then a bit of mascara and good to go, but it's not like a bold color. All right, I'm going to try that purple just on the outer corner a little bit. Once again, this does provide some color, but it's not a bold amount of color. It's definitely more of a softer shade, and it's more pink as well. I'm finding this looks a lot, I don't know if it's just my coloring, but I find that these do tend to look a little bit warmer on me. So I don't know, this also looks a little bit lighter on me than in the pan. The pan makes it look like a dark sort of magenta purple, whereas on the lid it's definitely a softer color. And I'm just running that under my eye just a little bit with the excess. I'm just going to run that Backtalk shade under my eye a little bit as well, because I like to bring colour down because it's what I like to do. And just to lift that a little bit, I'm going to put a little bit of highlighter on, but you'll see that the eyeshadows don't have a highlighter shade besides the matte, so I'm going down to the highlighter in the face palette. They're very soft, almost like romantic soft. So just with one layer, you can see that you can definitely get some brightness in there. Here's another layer to build it up, but it's not intense. It's a very soft effect. Now, I don't often curl my lashes, you'll see that, but when I am wearing no liner, I tend to like doing it just because it gives a little bit more shape to my eyes. This is just the Shiramura lash curler that I got probably too long ago. I think I should upgrade it. And let's try this Perversion mascara. So that's what the tube looks like. Matches my nail polish a little bit. Pretty standard brush wand. Okay, straight away I can tell that it's good for lengthening and adding a bit of volume, and it's not clumping, which is great. Yeah, the more I put on, the more it stays as it is, not clumping at all. It's quite wet, but that's possibly because it's just a brand new mascara. But that's with like one coat and then none, so you can see it's a big difference. All right, mascara on, and I think this look looks really pretty. It's nice and soft. It looks kind of romantic, girly, sweet. This is sort of quick and easy to do. I would do this on a daily basis pretty easily. I'm just going to fill in my brows a little bit more and then we'll get onto the face. Okay, time for the face, and I thought quickly I would just swatch the palette so you can see roughly the rest of the colors. So these are the colors in the eyeshadow part. You can see the matte, you can see some shimmers. We've got one that's a little bit more neutral, one that's a little bit more cool toned, that nice Backtalk matte shade that I put in the crease. We've got that purple that I used, which appears a lot lighter than in the pan. That reddy shade, the brown, which is a really nice pigmented sort of like cork brown, and then a dark shimmery brown. So these aren't like, when you think of Urban Decay and you think of some of the colored palettes they do and whatnot, these are very, very muted, and even though they do apply quite smoothly, they aren't like, they don't pack much of a color punch. So it's definitely more of a like softer eyeshadow palette. So take that into consideration when, if you're thinking about buying this. If you like these sort of soft, you know, diffused looks, you might like this. Otherwise, so I'd say that this is definitely more of a beginner or just your everyday makeup user that would like this. If you like the really foiled, metallic, bold colors, this is not a palette for you. I also wanted to point out, I swatched the face products here. This is like a slight shimmery purple blush. You could use this as an eyeshadow as well, but it does have a slight satin sort of effect to it. Then there's a nice matte blush. This one I think is very similar to the Backtalk eyeshadow shade, and I feel like if you've got them both in the same palette, you can use blush on your eyes. So I kind of think, even though this is a really nice color for this color scheme, if there was like a nice matte dark purple or something, because you can always reach for this out of the blush side. Like, it's not hard to put blush on your eyes. Then we've got two highlighters. Now, I don't know if you can see them properly. One is a little bit cooler, one is more peachy sort of gold, and that one's actually really pretty. It's like a pink to peach kind of shift, but these are a little bit chunky to swatch. So I'm really curious about how they're going to apply, because they do have a little bit of, they're not super smooth and thin, they're a little bit chunky. So we will test it. So because I'm really keen on testing the highlighter out, I sort of want to go for that as the blush, and maybe as like a sculpting blush. So I might put it sort of as I would put a bronzer, like a contour bronzer product, because I don't have any bronzer on today. And then I'm going in with this shade for the highlighter, and we can see how that sits on the skin and how it applies. I think the mattes pick up in this palette a lot better than the shimmers, which is rare because usually shimmers are a lot easier to make very pigmented, but in this instance they seem to be, like the mattes seem to be a lot more easy to pick up on the brush. Tap that off. All right, that is, yeah, it's a nice blush. It's definitely got a bit of a cool tone mauviness to it. But it's really soft and easy to apply. Blends out nicely and adds a nice amount of flush to the cheeks. Okay, I decided to get my favorite highlighter brush. This is a Real Techniques setting brush. I have like half a dozen of these, and I know that I know how they apply highlighter, and I really like how they apply highlighter. So we'll see how it goes with Low Key, which is this peachy one. It almost has a bit of oiliness to it. You can see when you swatch it, it looks like it sort of seals the pan a bit. It hasn't sealed the pan because you can definitely pick up the product, but it does have that sort of oily look to it. And I'm going to zoom in for this because I'm curious. Let's see. Let's have a look. All right, this like it gives a really soft sheen. I was expecting it to be a little bit more bold than this. Well, I shouldn't, because this palette's very, very soft. Just put a little bit more on. So it does build up. It's actually a lot prettier than I thought it would based on the swatch. So you can see it just has a nice, beautiful sort of, catches a light. It's like a pinky color, but with a peachy shift. It's very pretty. So you can see what I mean about sealing up. I think that might be the oils from my fingers when I swatched it. So be careful with maybe these two products, this in particular. It can sort of seal up with the oils from your hands. So make sure you use clean brushes with this. But if it does seal up, you can just sort of like scrape off that top layer. It's not a big deal. It doesn't make it unusable it just doesn't look as pretty. All right, now for the lipstick. So this is the Vice lipstick in Backtalk, which is sort of inspired this whole palette. That's very pretty. So that is the lipstick bullet there. It looks gorgeous. I thought I'd get a good shot of it before I use it and muck it up. And that's it there swatched compared to the palette. So you can see it definitely complements the other shades. It's very, very smooth and nicely pigmented lipstick. Let's put it on. I'm excited. All right. Ooh. All right, that's a lipstick on there. It's a beautiful color. It's a really nice, soft, mauvey nude. Definitely matches well with the rest of the face. This is a comfort matte formula. I did put it on top of a lip balm, so maybe some of the sheen that you can see on it is from the lip balm, but also comfort matte sort of formulas tend to be quite creamy when you put them on, and they settle down to more of just a sort of matte look, but not a true drying matte. So it's a pretty color, and it's a nice thin sort of soft consistency as well, so it's not like a thick kind of drying lipstick, which is good. All right, last but not least, we're going in with the All Nighter Long Lasting Setting Spray. So I've heard great things about this. I haven't used it yet. This is made by Skindinavia. I have used the Skindinavia ones before though, so I am familiar with that kind of concept. Oh my God, I've just noticed something really amazing. Holy shit. Oh my God, Hayley, I'm just filming. Have you opened the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray? Do it now and let me know what you see.
Oh my God, that is so fucking cute. Oh, Mecca.
All right, so the really cool thing is check this out. Holy fuck. So this is my setting spray. Don't you take my setting spray. This is so cool. So they've put a sticker on the outside and they've customized it up. So, oh, it's so cute. That's so cute. So you're gonna shake the bottle well and hold 8 to 10 inches away and mist the face 2 to 4 times in an X and T formation. All right, let's do it. I don't know if I can do that. It feels like it's too much pressure. Okay, I definitely don't know how to do the formations, but that was like a nice light mist. Whew. Normally when I apply stuff like this, sometimes your face goes all wet, and I applied quite a bit of that, but that's cool. That feels really comfortable. All right, so this is my sort of full face using Urban Decay products. We've got highlighter, we've got blush. I'm not going bronzer today. I kind of like this look with no liner and no bronzer. It sort of looks a little bit more fresh, and I like to think youthful. I don't know if that's the case. But nice soft eyes, nice mascara, beautiful nude lip. Yeah, I'm actually really digging the look of this highlighter. I think it's really, really pretty. And even though it looks peachy in the pan, I do have quite fair skin. Like if you do look at my foundation shade compared to the rest of the shades in the range, I'm like the 3rd lightest, I think. But that color still looks really, really nice on me. So you can't see there's much base color. It just adds that kind of gold sheen, which I really like. All right, guys, so that is my full face using mainly products from Urban Decay that I haven't ever tried, including the brand new Backtalk palette. Now, I have to say, I will go through the products again and what I sort of think about them just from first impressions, but I do have to say that I really like this look that I created. It's nice, soft, it's sort of like, I'd say it's a neutral look. It's definitely not a warm toned look at all, but it's not a cool toned either, because the purples on my skin at least tend to look more pinky or even leaning a little bit peachy. So I'd say it's a very neutral look. It's a very soft look. I really like the sort of purpley sort of colored blush. I really like this highlighter. I think it gives a beautiful glow to the skin, and it doesn't give you that really foiled look where if you look face on, I hate it when you can see that strip of highlighter. So I think this is really, really pretty, and it's definitely a look that I've been going for a lot in the cooler weather. I think this sort of clean, softer look goes really well with like scarves and jackets and beanies. I think it just looks really nice. So I'm really happy with the overall effect, and I found these products really easy to work with. Now, I do have sort of like mixed opinions on some of them, and it's more about your personal preference rather than whether the product is good or bad. I have to say that I was sort of impressed by these. I wasn't expecting them to be a demi matte. I hadn't looked too much into them when they were released, but they definitely are a sort of medium coverage demi matte product. So I quite like these. I like the consistency of the foundation. It was very liquidy. It covered my redness. It does look like it matches my body really well. And it's very, very lightweight, and I feel like I'm just wearing a powder, really. It feels like I've just put a bit of face powder on to set my oils, but I'm actually wearing foundation. So I really do like this. I don't know how it's going to wear, but I might do a wear test with it in the future. And then with the concealer, this did look a little bit yellow on me, but I find that it did blend in well to the foundation. And you know, it looks, once again, it's not full coverage, but it does a job really well that it brightens the under eye a little bit, it conceals a little bit, and then it just looks like my skin is really nice. So I'm interested in trying these more out and letting you know how I feel about them when I've used them more. And then the one product that I actually had used before was this eyeshadow primer. I do like this eyeshadow primer if you're looking for one that doesn't deposit too much color. It does make your makeup, like your eye makeup, last longer and not crease, but it's quite a wet, thin formula, so it's not like one of those thick kind of creams that you put on. So yeah, people have used it for years and years for a reason. And depending on what you prefer in an eyeshadow base, this is going to be right up your alley or not. If you do want to blank out your eyelids and have a really thick base, this won't do it for you. But if you do like something that will just not feel like you've put much on your eyes but helps your eyeshadow stay without creasing, then you'll like this. Now, probably the thing that's most like interesting, and it will come down to personal preference, is the new Backtalk palette. I really like the idea of this being an all-in-one palette because you can take it traveling, you can take out the mirror, you can do whatever, and then you've got the 4 face products, and these are actually quite nice. I think this color, this purple, might not be everyone's cup of tea because the purple blush generally mainly suits deeper skin tones. This highlighter does seal a little bit if you've got oils on your fingers, so do be careful about that, but it does apply really beautifully. The matte blush really applies beautifully. It's a nice amount of color. It blends really nicely, so I'm wearing those two and I'm really happy with the effect of it. And then when it comes to the eyeshadows, I like the colors. It's sort of like a slightly more purpley pink but still nude eyeshadow palette. It's got a nice matte cream to set your base. It's got some deeper shades. It's got some nice sort of like transition shades. You've got a cooler one, you've got a warmer one. It's a bit deeper. So I do like the colors in this. I was expecting personally that the shimmer shades were going to be more intense than they are. And I feel like the mattes probably perform, on my first impression, a bit better than the shimmers. Now, like I said, the shimmers, they do apply nice and smoothly and evenly, and you can see like they show up, you can see them, but they are a lot softer and more muted than I was personally expecting, and sort of expecting from Urban Decay since I've used their other palettes. This is very, very nude, and if you do like that softer, romantic look without too much, you know, foiled eyeshadows and bold colors, this would be something that you're interested in. But if you do have an extensive eyeshadow collection and you are very confident with eyeshadows and you like a bold eyeshadow, you won't like this. In the last 3 products, I'm going to say I like them all. I was quite impressed by this mascara. It is just new, so it might change as I've had it open for a while, but it definitely did lengthen the lashes and separate them quite nicely and add volume. It didn't clump, which I was very happy about, because my biggest issue with just wearing mascara with no liner is that when my lashes have a tendency to clump a lot, and it makes it look like I've got like 3 lashes and it's not very nice. But when you do have that sort of nice long and fluttery lashes, you can look really, really pretty not wearing liner. So often I use liner to hide a bad mascara, but I don't need to with this. So I really did like Perversion. I thought that was really nice. Look, this not only does it have my name on it, which is very exciting, but this setting spray, I really like the feel of it. It dispersed really, really evenly. It doesn't feel sticky. It doesn't smell like alcohol. I'm gonna have to see if it makes my foundation wear like all day and all night, but we will see. And then this lipstick, I can understand why it's a cult favorite, and they've sort of based a collection around it because it's a really beautiful color. It's beautiful. This is a sort of nude that I like to go for in winter. It's very flattering on fairer skin. It's very comfortable. Comfort matte makes sense because it's super comfortable and really nice and pigmented to apply. So it's beautiful. So thank you so much to Mecca for sending this out to me. I feel very spoilt and very special. It feels like it's Christmas on a Wednesday, which is great. Mid-year, Wednesday, midweek, Christmas, yes. So if you do want to check out the Backtalk palette, it's currently available right now. But I would recommend that if you're not sure about it, to go check it out in store and go swatch it for yourself, because some people will love it and other people probably won't like it just because it's a softer, a more subtle palette. Now, like I said, it works nicely and I like the effect, but if you do want to ramp up those shimmers, you can always apply them with your fingers or apply them wet. But yeah, it is what it is. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one, probably for 1 month, 1 palette. See ya.